We're live from St. Louis this evening as the team second place in the Eastern Conference takes on the team second from bottom. St. Louis FC is home with Swope Park Rangers in the USL Championship. Today's match is brought to you by the Cheshire Inn. Chris Whittingham alongside the former Manchester United goalkeeper Gary Bailey for commentary of this one. And Gary, as you take a look at the fans coming into the stadium, let's talk about the disparate ways these two teams have started their campaigns. All good in the goal-scoring front, but it's goals conceded that's been the problem for a Swope Park side that's yet to win. Absolutely, Chris. Have a look at it. 7 games, 9 goals for St. Louis, 7 for Swope, 6 assists each. All looks very even then until you hit goals conceded, and it's 5 versus 12. And that's the big problem for Swope Park Rangers, and that's why they don't have one win to their name yet. And St. Louis FC coming off their 4th clean sheet of the campaign against Pittsburgh. And as we take a look now at our electrical connection player to watch, Sam Fink is part of both efforts in terms of goal scoring and goals conceded on the campaign. Well, that's why he has to be kept an eye on, especially for Swope Park Rangers. He scored 3 goals, 2 penalties, agreed, and a free kick. But this is coming from a defender who's doing his job, as you're saying, defending and weighing in with 3 crucial goals. So a vital member of the St. Louis team. As you now take a look at our keys to the match presented by TW Constructors. Gary Bailey, what do you have for us this evening? Well, if you're St. Louis, you've got to attack an inexperienced defense. It's a very young Swope Park Rangers team, which is wonderful to see. But clearly, if you have a go at them, you might get some joy. And, of course, with Sam Fink already having 3 from set pieces, you'd use him at every available opportunity. If you're Swope Park Rangers, they've just had 1 clean sheet in the last match against Birmingham Legion. Time for more, because if you keep a clean sheet, 1 goal will give you a victory. And for all those young players, they've got to mature quickly, they've got to learn this game, and they've got to start picking up wins. And they've got to get to winning ways. Still looking for their first win of the season, Swope Park Rangers. Some positive steps in their previous match against Birmingham with the clean sheet. They're looking for a win for St. Louis. Without a win in 2, feels like a drought. They try to get back to winning ways next.
This year we've developed Ale d'Or, which is a beer brewed exclusively for the St. Louis Football Club. We've been partners with STLC for coming up on 3 years now. St. Louis Football Club got some Schlafly, call out our Luligan friends on the side. You'll be able to find Ale d'Or obviously out at Soccer Park and then at your local grocery in and around St. Louis, so we're really excited to get it out there in the market. We're excited to debut it in 16-ounce cans for the upcoming season.
When you need quality electrical work for your home or business, look to theelectricalconnection.org. Created as a partnership between IBEW Local 1 electricians and the St. Louis chapter of the National Electrical Contractors Association, the Electrical Connection has been setting the standard for electrical excellence in St. Louis for over 100 years. You can depend on our highly skilled and trained workforce, your #1 source for quality electrical and communication contractors, electricalconnection.org.
A lottery ticket is so much more than a piece of paper. It's wonder, opportunity, dreams. And not just for players. 100% of the profits from every Missouri lottery ticket you play goes back to schools, teachers, and students. Play it forward with the Missouri Lottery.
Tonight, St. Louis FC Academy Spotlight player is Jack Mayer. Jack's career kicked off at Metro East Legacy, where his passion was evident from the start. A growth spurt at the age of 13 was the first of many challenges Jack has overcome to become the player he is today. A steady, intelligent defender who will be heading into his sophomore season at Indiana University. Jack Mayer is tonight's St. Louis FC Academy Spotlight.
Our match day refereeing crew, led by Lucas Spalla, bringing us out onto the field for this match, presented by the Cheshire Inn as St. Louis FC are home with Swope Park Rangers this evening. Let's go and bring you our starting lineups there, brought to you by Schlafly, St. Louis's oldest brew pub. And Gary Bailey will start first with the host, St. Louis FC, with 2 changes from their last match against Pittsburgh Riverhounds. One up top with Albert Dequa coming in for Joaquin Rivas, and Audi Jepson out on that right-hand side.
Yeah, that's a good attack force. Dequa and Kyle Gregg up front, and you've got Cicerone out wide and Jepson too. So expect St. Louis to attack with those 2 up front and the 2 wide.
The central defensive partnership of Fink and Kavita have combined for 4 of St. Louis's 9 goals on the year. You would not expect it, but that is the case for the host this evening. As for Swope Park, just 3 changes from the team that drew 0-0 with Birmingham Legion a weekend ago.
Yes, and Deas comes in goals, and you've got Jerome Mbekele and Wilson Harris playing. Harris, 19 years of age up front, and to be honest, the entire team is barely over 21 years of age on average. It's an extremely young team and a very, very exciting one, full of potential great talent for the future.
All players in the age range of 19 to 23 for Swope Park Rangers. That, of course, is the model. It's the USL side affiliated with Sporting Kansas City in Major League Soccer. So they're young players coming through, having an opportunity with this Swope Park Rangers team in USL Championship.
Yeah, and it's something that St. Louis have to take advantage of. I mean, they're a much older team, more mature team, quite a few players around the 29, 28-year-old mark, and they'll be looking at the youngsters saying, hey, guys, this is hard professional soccer, and if we can take advantage of their lack of maturity, let's do it. Having said that, the youngsters of Swope Park have to grow up quickly. They have to learn how to come up against bigger, stronger, more mature players, and they've got to use their wonderful young skills to see if they can find a way to keep St. Louis at bay. So it promises to be a really exciting match tonight.
Although I will slightly put a damper on that by saying that both of these teams are coming off of 0-0 draws. St. Louis a weekend ago at rainy Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh not only is a side that has matches that feature a ton of goals. Swope Park, after conceding 12 goals in their opening 4 matches, keep a clean sheet away from home. That a valuable away point for the away side on the night.
Yes, and confidence that they can keep clean sheets, but they have scored 7 in 5, Swope, so they will know that they can score goals. And of course, St. Louis has scored a ton of goals. You mentioned Sam Fink, a defender, scoring 3 goals. So yeah, I'm confident we're going to see some really exciting play here tonight. A little bit windy, it might cause the keepers like Zendejas a few problems with the crosses, but I think this game has got goals written in it.
And it should be a fun one tonight from the Toyota Stadium. Of course, St. Louis linked with a potential move to Major League Soccer, but it is in the USL Championship tonight. They continue to try and climb this table, currently heading into the day, sitting in second, and a chance to go top by evening's end. Swope Park looking for their first victory of the campaign. We'll have kickoff here momentarily. Wilson Harris leading the line for Swope Park Rangers, who get us started going from left to right on the evening. St. Louis in their home greens going from right to left for Swope Park Rangers. Conceding goals has been the issue on the campaign, with 4 scored by Bethlehem Steel against the visitors on the day. Indy 11 going to Children's Mercy Park and scoring 3 times, as well as we can now bring you our injury report presented by TW Constructors. Tomas Gomez and Caleb Calvert continue to miss out for St. Louis FC, who are also without Joaquin Rivas and Bradley Camden-Fewo, none of whom are on the bench. It's a nice ball played between the lines, and Albert Dikwa with the flag up on the far side for offside for St. Louis. Started the year with 4 wins from 5, but in their last 2, a home loss to Birmingham Legion, the expansion side, coming to Toyota Stadium and putting together a very solid 3-2 victory. And last time out, the 0-0 draw with Pittsburgh Riverhounds. An opportunity, Gary, tonight. This is second in the Eastern Conference. Again, second from bottom. Should be an opportunity for 3 points for the home side.
It should be, in theory, but this is a very, very talented young Swope Park Rangers team, and players from 19, 20 years of age, a whole ton of them 20 years of age, 21. It's extremely inexperienced against a much more experienced St. Louis side. So yes, you would expect the home side to win, but there's some talent in those white jerseys.
Bekele coming off that left-hand side and attempting the strike towards goal. Now Mark Segbers can try and recover the ball, but it goes out of play off of him and out for a goal kick.
Something you will see, and that's a very strong win from left to right, so it's going with Swope Park Rangers for the first half, and that can help you. It can also make it difficult to knock long balls because they run all the way out. But certainly it can make it easy for you to put pressure on the opposition. You can clear your lines a lot more easily when the wind is with you. Obviously, from a St. Louis point of view, as you're about to see here, it's going to be a tough kick against that wind.
And we'll see how Jake Fenlison will handle it on the night. You see that ball just kind of died there as it was on its way, but Fenlison still getting plenty of power on it. This is the 9th meeting between the two sides, both of whom have shared time in the respective conferences of USL, of course, because of their geography in the middle of the country. St. Louis FC switching conferences for a 5th consecutive year. Swope Park have ridden that wave as well. Now both in the Eastern Conference, both making the switch this year, with multiple teams coming into the Western Conference.
Oh, it's been a fantastic start for St. Louis, and they're going to really want to finish in that top 8 and get into those playoffs and finish as high as possible. And they've really given themselves a good start, a confident start, but they have to be seeing today as 3 points against this young Swope Park Rangers side.
As Dikwa will lay it off here for Lewis Hilton, the Englishman will partner alongside the Israeli international Guy Abend in the center of the park. Here's Fanuel Kavita, who started alongside Sam Fink in each of St. Louis FC's first 7 matches. Well done there by Audi Jepson, and now down for Matt Boehner, who wins himself a throw-in. Lovely long ball played there by Lewis Hilton, and Russell Cicerone's into the penalty area. Mark Segber is doing very well, though, to get his body positioned to intervene.
That was a lovely long ball to Cicerone, wasn't it? He brought it down well, and for a moment you thought, are they in? St. Louis, have they got that breakthrough? But great tackle coming in. Those are the sort of passes that can open up that Swope Park Rangers defense.
Lewis Hilton. And Reynolds playing it through the legs of Will Little. That much more of a coming together. Reynolds in a different position than he was a year ago. He's normally the left central defender, and now playing at left back. It's something of a major difference playing between those two positions.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of skill to move across, a lot of football knowledge and know-how to change positions. You have an awareness of space around you that is particular to one position. So well done to him for being able to switch when necessary. Those utility players are absolutely vital in any team. I'm not quite sure who that was to.
It was in the area of Audi Jepson, but didn't end up anywhere near him in the end.
I think as a keeper, you just blame the wind.
Both of these managers on the day, Paulo Nagamura for Swope Park and Anthony Poulos entering their 2nd season with the club. Poulos coming from Orlando City B. Now, with a job far different than the one that he had and that Paulo Nagamura has. The low cross is delivered. It's a quality bit of service there on that right-hand side from Will Little. And plenty of danger in the St. Louis penalty area as the ball remains here with Alexander, the Brazilian. And Bekele, lovely turn towards that byline. The delivery comes off of Matt Boehner and out for a corner.
Well, we've seen already with that wonderful cross from Will Little and Mbekele's little shimmy on the left-hand side how much skill these young players have and how much trouble they can cause you. Have a look at this ball whipped across here. I think it was Felipe Hernandez with the cross. That's really, really good. And some lovely little skill by Mbekele on the left-hand side. This is a problem for St. Louis. It looks like it's an easy match on paper. There's so much young talent on that Swope Park Rangers side. It can cause the hosts all sorts of problems.
And you see at the corner flag, Juan Kuzain will have to negotiate the wind as the Electro Savings corner is swung into the penalty area. Kyle Gregg doing well to rise and head away. And now might a counter-attacking opportunity beyond as Dikwa just booted the ball forward, but goes out of play in the end.
All the white shirts getting back, getting into position, making themselves available to the thrower. This is the hard yards you've got to keep doing. You're pushing up in the box with a set piece, and you've got to sprint back and get into your defensive duties. And you might not feel it now, the players, but trust me, in the last 10-15 minutes of the match, that's when they'll need their fitness to see them right through to the end.
Swope Park Rangers will try and keep the ball and keep possession without disastrous giveaways that have seen them concede goals at times on this campaign. Holland conceded a goal in the opening 90 seconds to Indy 11 off a mistake from the central defender Graham Smith.
But Sam Fink, they're doing his defensive duties to add to the 3 goals he scored already this season. He's a vital player seemingly at both ends of the pitch.
As Alexander forced just nod away for the throw in, the 20-year-old Brazilian on loan from Atletico Paranense. Throw in for St. Louis. Boehner lofting towards Dikwa, but the convergence of defenders getting that away, and a lovely flick there from Hernandez. And here comes Juan Kuzain charging towards the penalty area. We'll come here for Will Little on this right-hand side. He'll lay it off with his right back, Segbers. This is nice work as Alak returns for Little, who can run 1v1 towards that byline, across towards Wilson Harris. And well read by St. Louis at the back to snuff out the chance, but again, Will Little getting joy down that right-hand side.
Absolutely, it's a wonderful ball in from Will Little, and Wilson Harris actually does get on the end of it. Some good defensive work from St. Louis, but it just shows you what wonderful football this Swope Park Rangers team can play, and it's very much the home side on the back foot at the moment.
Segbers. And Little again, practically hugging that touchline. Just the work of a winger. And the ball played towards Hernandez, and Hilton doing very well to ward off the Swope Park midfielder and away for a goal kick.
With the St. Louis side sitting second in the Eastern Division, they thought this was an easy match against a team second bottom. I think the first 8 or so minutes have given these more mature and older players a little realization they're up against a really, really good bunch of kids, and they best perform well today if they're going to come away with the 3 points.
Well, the concern from a Swope Park point of view was never about their ability to get forward and score goals. It's not the ability to keep clean sheets at the back that they've struggled with so far on this campaign, but did get their first of the year last weekend at Birmingham. Now looking to continue to take that step forward, but at the moment, hardly even having to do any defending.
It is that balance, isn't it, that you have to learn. You have to be able to attack and be prepared for the counter-attack. It's a constant football knowledge situation where while you're attacking, you are almost preparing for your position should you lose control of the ball. Maybe it's something that the young players of Swope are having to get used to, and judging by the fact there was a clean sheet last time up, maybe they're already maturing into the season.
Guy Bend trying to play it out to that right-hand side, and Audi Jepson could get there. Alexander doing well, though, again, to get across. Use the playing surface that is quickly to his advantage. Adrian Zendejas in goal tonight, making a second start of the year for SPR. And 3 different goalkeepers used in just their 6th match so far for Swope Park Rangers. The back 4 has stayed relatively constant, with Graham Smith starting every match and Segbers and Alexander starting all but one, but having multiple changes in goalkeepers can certainly affect that back 5.
Yep, it certainly can, and the amazing thing is at 23 years of age, Zendejas is, along with Segbers and Graham Smith, the oldest players in the team at 23. That is amazing. It just shows you what a good job, oh, there's a scuff clearance there, what a good job Paulo Nagamura is doing to blend all this young talent and to give them opportunities and to make the necessary changes week in and week out and still be competitive. And as you say, if they just keep it tight at the back, this is a really, really good Swope Park Rangers team.
Jepson in space doing well to get turned. Here's Hilton. It's the long ball out to this left-hand side. Very well to Russell Cicerone. Approaching the penalty area, lofted in. Zendejas got a hand to it. And it will roll out for a throw-in. Although, they're going to say that Zendejas did not get any contact on the ball and just kind of waved it on its way. So it will be a throw-in for Swope Park Rangers.
That was a good move from St. Louis, knocking the ball out wide. A lovely switch of play, and then Cicerone putting it in there, putting it into the danger area. Did he get a touch? Difficult to see, but the bottom line is they're putting balls in dangerous areas, St. Louis, and that is what ultimately should bring them some reward.
Fink then doing well to flick on, but Swope Park can play out. Zendejas probably took a bit too much time. Quality pressure applied there by Tikwa.
Look Those green shirts, it's a high press, isn't it? Lots of players making it difficult for the goalkeeper to play out or the defenders to play out, and they obviously want to take advantage of the defensive lapses of Swope Park this season, and they feel that a high press and lots of players in the opponent's half could do the job.
Lewis Hilton, in his second season with the club, previously with Charlotte Independence in the USL Championship. As Cicerone does manage to get it to Greg. A bend with a first-time strike. Cicerone nearly there to take it off of Camden Riley, who manages to get it away.
A little chance for a bend, wasn't it? If he could have struck that cleanly, he might have had a good shot on target. In the end, it wasn't a great strike, and opportunity lost.
Bekele losing out. In a team that does have youth at central midfield, does have plenty of experience with Kuzain and Hernandez. Been at the club for some time. Plenty of appearances gathered. Kuzain making his way through towards the Sporting Kansas City side a year ago. And is certainly looking to return as quickly as possible as Cicerone wins the free kick. One of the many homegrown signings Sporting Kansas City academies growing throughout this country. They're producing young players used by MLS sides. Can only help the growth of the game in this country.
Oh, there's so many wonderful young American players, and the future is so bright in so many ways.
As Reynolds gets the ball to Greg. Greg with an opportunity to strike, but hits it straight at the goalkeeper, Zendejas. The chance was on.
That was a good chance. Have a look. It's on his left foot. Doesn't get much power behind it. Straight at the goalkeeper. And Carl Gregg's normally a prolific scorer in front of goals. Maybe just stubbed his toe in the ground a little bit as well. Took power out of the shot. But that's a good chance for Carl Gregg, and he doesn't take advantage of it.
We'll have to say, though, a great first touch, though, from Greg. Set himself on his way towards shooting position, but cannot direct it towards either corner. And Zendejas positioned well, able to make a relatively straightforward save. Segbers' switch is cut out there by Jepson, who's playing a bit more narrow than his wide right position. Easy for me to say. As charging on a is Alexander, the first time strike. And it'll come from Bekele. Tried to take it on the volley, but that was certainly ambitious.
It was on the volley. The first shot is one thing because he had time to set it up, Alexander, but when it comes to Bekele to try and hit the ball over the keeper with the instep from outside the box on a tight angle, wow, that would have been up for candidate of goal of the season if that had gone in.
Svenlisson just establishing things, and you see in behind that goal some of those signs flying in this wind. How would wind affect the pattern of play? Now, obviously, the long balls might die in the wind, but if the ball's being played on the ground, would there be any major difference?
A little bit. I mean, it's more the ball in the air that gets affected by the wind. And if you're playing into the wind, you can actually knock it long and it really runs out. The opposite, if you're playing with the wind, you can clear your lines easily, but then the balls knocked long tend to run out. So it's really just getting used to it and playing whatever you can to your advantage. Right now they're keeping the ball on the ground because it is difficult to manage those long high balls in the wind. Yep, there's a good shot of it.
3 flags, very much showing the conditions on the night here at the Toyota.
But the worst player on the pitch for windy situations is always going to be the goalkeeper.
As Ben tries to loft one into the penalty area, Russell Cicerone able to take down on this near side. Nice dummy there from Jepson, leaving it for Lewis Hilton, who just loses out. Kuzain doing well, as there will be handball given there against Kavita.
Once again, we saw St. Louis in that box, probing away, trying to get the ball through. Cicerone causing problems. And you get the sense that if they keep doing that, something's going to fall for them eventually. Lewis Hilton within a yard or two of actually having a shot on target. And you can see a quick glance of Anthony Pulis, the coach, just watching on, thinking, yeah, we definitely are getting a little bit closer.
Alexander. Young Brazilian charging on his way. Leaves it for Jerome Bekele. His cross is cut off by Reynolds. And Cicerone, and there you see the wind stopping those defensive clearances. Kuzain. First player who came through the academy, then Swope Park Rangers, then Sporting Kansas City. Followed the full pathway, which is only just a few years old.
See how St. Louis are quite deep here. They get every man in their own half. They get lots of bodies behind the ball. They deny Swope Park Rangers too much space. Look at that, 2 banks of 4 there. Well, nearly 4 and 5 with Carl Gregg dropping back. So it makes it very difficult for Swope Park Rangers to find any space in the half of St. Louis.
As Mbekele tried to get turned. You can see how they've kept 4 clean sheets in 7 matches.
Yeah, very
That
well
kind of
organized.
defensive shape.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well organized defensively, St. Louis.
They've given up 5 goals in the league, and 3 of them came in their last home match against Birmingham. It's no doubt been the result that went against the form guide so far this year for St. Louis.
And yet, funny enough, Anthony Pulis, the coach, saying they played really well in that game. Because we asked him during the week, what did you feel about the home defeat to Birmingham Legion? He said, no, it's one of our best games. So he didn't seem too bothered by it. Now, I suppose you can get those games where you play really well and don't win, as much as you can play really bad and do win.
Nice ball there in the path of Dikwa, who's now working against Graham Smith. Returns for Cicerone. Cicerone towards that byline, across the face of goal. And well done there by Alexander on the back post to cut out. And Segbers eventually clearing his lines.
Cicerone doing so well once again. He has been a real problem for the defense of Swope Park Rangers. He got the ball across past the keeper, cleared off the line. Have a look, he does so well, a change of direction. That ball causing all sorts of trouble. And then he gets up again, has another little half shot, which actually comes off the post.
Incredible from that position. Be able to direct it on target. Cicerone again, who's been one of the standouts. On his 3rd club in 3 years, but thinks he found a home here in St. Louis. Is again the opportunity to strike off for Cicerone. Comes off the defender Riley. And now Hilton. We were talking about how it could affect the goalkeeper, but I feel like if there's a second place with this wind, it might be Lewis Hilton, who has tried to uncork a few of those big switches. And the trajectory has certainly been affected. As here's Sam Fink, top goal scorer for St. Louis.
Keep going.
Have a hit, Sam Fink, as it's played out to Cicerone. Touch on to his right, doing well to come across the lock. Still Cicerone, and a great save forced out of Adrian Zendejas. Opportunity still on for St. Louis, and Audi Jepson's cross comes off the defender. Russell Cicerone is banging down the doors to open the scoring for St. Louis.
And that's a really good save from Zendejas, diving to his left, using all his strength of his arms to push that ball away. Have a look at it again. Cicerone, absolutely stunning effort so far. Goalkeeper, both hands. You can see that Guy Ben puts his arms up, and he thinks it's going to go in the back of the net. And the keeper comes up trumps with a top-class save.
Zendejas doing well to claim in the air as well, as a sliding tackle came in from Kyle Gregg. Play on, says the referee. Hasn't had too much to do, as a nice ball slid there towards Dikwa. Even better work there from Graham Smith to dispossess. Now sent long Wilson Harris on the charge. But settles nicely for Fenlison.
Yeah, that's the problem with the wind being behind you, is when it is cleared down the pitch, it runs all the way through to the keeper. The opposite true for St. Louis. If they knock it along, it's going to slow down and sit, which is actually easier for forwards to deal with.
Nice idea there from Audi Jepson, but Boehner giving away. Reynolds nodding down for Kavita. Samuel Kavita, the native of DR Congo, played in 31 matches for St. Louis a year ago. Partnered with think, for every match. Same thing, a local player from Edwardsville, Illinois. Back in his second stint with the club. One player actually with ties to the area is Mark Segbers, who is engaged on this right-hand side. Went to high school just 10 minutes in this Worldwide Technology Soccer Park. Kuzain.
Good change there to switch it to that left-hand side. There's a little bit of space for Swope Park Rangers to play in, and maybe just try and get a bit more of the ball. It's been more St. Louis the last 10 minutes, causing problems in that Swope Park Rangers goalmouth area. Now for the team in wide, a chance for them to try and get their sort of feet on the ball, knock it around, just take a moment, get a breath, and to get a nice touch on the ball. And that's exactly what they're doing.
Ayub Alak, the native of Belgium, who joins from their lower leagues. Not too many holdovers from last year's team. The Swope Park Rangers continue to have on-field successes as a side that has gone to the USL Cup Finals. It's well done there by Dikwa to establish that body position, but good recovery there from Riley. Manages to get in the way, out for a corner.
Yeah, Dikwa doing so well there, and you think, okay, you've beaten your man, get the ball in, and he just takes a little bit too much time. There was runners in the box. Carl Gregg was running near post. That's when he wants the ball nice and early. Instead, the chance on the cross is blocked, and now it's a set piece. And a chance for all the big centre backs to get up there for St. Louis.
It's time for a corner presented by Electro Savings. First opportunity for Lewis Hilton to deliver. Some arguments about whether the ball is over the line. Of course, the wind might take it over that spot. As Hilton fizzes one through, and Zendejas coming very well to claim that one.
Yeah, keeper took it really well, didn't he? He was only one who read the flight of the ball. Everyone went near post and middle, and he just read it and came slightly towards the back post, picked it out the air, and that's what you love to see your keeper do when you're in defense. And it is a windy day, so that would have made it even more difficult for him to have read the flight of that ball.
You see the wind rippling the shirts of the players. Segbers, last year on loan with Orange County. Side that knocked St. Louis out of the playoffs by 4-0. Their first ever appearance in the postseason a year ago for Anthony Poulis's St. Louis FC.
I did ask him the question this week, is it an easier conference to be in on the East, because the West was tough when he reached the playoffs with Orange County and of course Phoenix Rising, who then subsequently beat Orange County. He said no, it's just as tough in the East as it is in the West. There's going to be no easy games. So for all those St. Louis fans, expect a tough season ahead, but one would expect them to be good enough to make those playoffs.
Zendejas. Is keen to play out of the back. Now Kuzain. Tugged down there by Audi Jepson, and a free kick.
It's good to see teams play out the back, but up to a certain point you can take all sorts of risks around your box, and if you lose possession, the opposition are only 10 yards away from smacking it into the back of the net. So yeah, love to see football played out the back, but I always think at the moment you get closed down too much, that's when you should just take no risks and knock it long.
Cheeky idea attempted there by Little, but didn't quite come off. You do see almost a without compromise approach to playing out of the back, particularly for some goalkeepers, and Zendejas there doing well to not give the ball away. As Reynolds continues on the charge, it's an overhit cross towards the area, and Jepson not there at backside to recover the ball.
I think aiming for Kyle Gregg, who's so good in the air, but it's a difficult ball from a long way out in a swirling wind. And he might be better suited to just trying to get the ball to Kyle Gregg's feet. He's so good with his feet as well. On a day like today, that might be the better option.
And we did mention earlier, Reynolds, not a natural left back. We're talking about adjustments and that space. See there his hesitation to take that initial dribble and then hit that cross in. That's not something he would be used to doing.
Yeah. And also reading it and thinking, well, hang on a sec, Kyle Gregg's on his own. Let me just sort of recycle the ball back through the middle and see if I can find a better opportunity to get to the main striker. That is Kyle Gregg.
Zendejas again, off his line to play out, and doing so very calmly for Graham Smith. Plays it out to this left-hand side. Alexander attempting to take down, but it's straight towards Hilton. Now a bend. Perfect pace on it for Boehner on that right-hand side, and again for Dikwa. 1v1 against Riley, who tries to hit that cross on. Still Albert Dikwa, whose cross is lofted towards that back post. And away by Little. Reynolds. Cicerone doing well to get the touch off towards a bend. There's the Israeli international leaving it for Reynolds. Bend coming from Reno 1868. In his first season with the club and has fit in very well next to Lewis Hilton. Reynolds. Nearly set up nicely there for Gregg off the deflection, but comes to Zendejas.
It's good possession by St. Louis, but that final ball just hasn't quite got the quality. Even that there from Sam Fink, just not making it easy for the strikers. And it's around this box now. That's what they need, a telling ball.
And Cicerone tried to do so via flick, but it didn't come off. Saw there the one-touch passing, nearly yielding that opportunity. Cicerone again. Try to leave it there for Reynolds, and Segbers can only watch as it goes out for an Electro Savings corner.
Another corner, another chance to throw something into the box, and let's see if the wind makes it difficult for the keeper and the defenders. Certainly the pressure coming from St. Louis, they've been sort of probing and pushing and shoving, and nothing's really worked for them in the box as yet, but they certainly have looked the more likely to score.
The opening 5 or 10 minutes or Swope Park looked like they had the initiative. St. Louis have certainly seized it.
Normal pushing and shoving in the box. Lots of dark arts, getting in the keeper's way, trying to block the strikers. Everyone arguing their case with the referee. You see this virtually every game. What they're saying is you can't be on top of the goalkeeper. You can't obstruct him too much. But also the keeper has to be careful not to do any pushing or shoving.
Lucas Spala sorting it out. Now Lewis Hilton. Measure this delivery as Zendejas again having an issue with Albert Dikwa. Hilton will take it short, receive the return ball, and again sent in, and again Zendejas, the big goalkeeper, will now start a counter-attack with his arm, and does so very well. And it's Alexander, the left back, who's come all the way forward. Cicerone doing very well. Alexander and Cicerone was quite coming together, and Cicerone, out of frustration, booting it after the whistle had already gone.
Be careful, Cicerone. You can get booked for kicking the ball away, so take a deep breath, and the referee's going to have a word with him. Does so well to get back and make the challenge, and just throws his body weight a little bit too much, and then boots it clear, and then starts pointing at the referee. Well, then you are asking for trouble.
And it will be a free kick on this near side. Alexander appears to have picked up a legitimate knock there, back of his leg.
The referee saying, I think he was using the elbow, saying what you said, is that as Cicerone gets up here, he just leans in with an elbow to the stomach. And it certainly looked that way. And free kick given, and lucky not to get a yellow card. And if he might still get a yellow card, Cicerone. If not, he's just getting a lecture at the moment. And it is frustrating because you're quite right. He did so well to track back and make the tackle and do everything, and then just put a little bit too much energy into that in winning that ball and giving away the free kick. And now getting a serious and detailed lecture from the referee.
Now the trainer will finally come over to tend to Alexander. And you have to think, given the amount of time he's been down, that this is not to make a point, but rather that it's a serious injury there. Now the teams will go and grab a quick drink. The adjustments here.
If we try and explain exactly what his thinking is to Lewis Hilton. And as you say, very important to take on fluids at this stage for the players and just make sure they're fully hydrated. It's a long game, and if you don't, then towards the end of the game your body can start to run out of necessary proteins, juices, electrolytes and everything else that goes up to make the fitness.
I do just think that Alexander was just trying to make a point there because he's grabbed at both the back of his leg and his lower back. Just asking for that yellow card there is now Felipe Hernandez to step over this free kick, the native of Nashville.
He's put some good crosses in so far in this game as Felipe Hernandez, 20 years of age. Another marvelous young talent. Let's see what he can do with this set piece.
Hernandez and Juan Cousin. It'll be left for Hernandez. It's a decent ball in, and again, Kyle Gregg back doing his defensive work. Touch from Cousin, runs all the way out. Then the wind coming to the aid there for the goal kick.
Cicerone once again doing some great defensive duties. He has been very impressive in this game so far, the number 9. Up front, causing problems and creating opportunities, and back tackling and doing his defensive work. And must be a coach's dream player who can do both the attacking and the defensive work.
Ball outside of the boot there from Cicerone. Throwing for St. Louis. 10 minutes to play here in this first half. St. Louis looking to go top of the table. We have the opportunity with a victory after Tampa Bay Rowdies dropped points earlier on today.
Nothing wrong with getting top of the table. It's great for confidence. The fans get excited. Sponsors come knocking on doors. It's just a positive feeling all around the club. So I'm certain that Anthony Pulis would be delighted if they can get a win here today and get to the top of the Eastern Conference.
Of the idea there from a bend, nearly coming for Cicerone. Dequo went out, would turn the ball towards Cicerone. Again across the face of goal. And cut up by Swope Park.
Again, Cicerone, he's real trouble. He has looked super sharp here tonight, and I think eventually something's going to fall to somebody in that box. He created a whole bunch of opportunities, St. Louis. Nothing's come from it as yet.
Zendejas will take care of that off the bounce. Cicerone, previous in USL with Portland Timbers 2 and FC Cincinnati. Managed to have found a home here in St. Louis as it's played short for Wilson Harris. His first time hit. Never really threatening Fenlison.
It's a confident hit, wasn't it, from outside the box? As you say, first time, not easy. Not too far away, but all started by Fenlison with Zendejas with a quick kick out, and an accurate kick it was as well. Caused all sorts of problems for the St. Louis defense.
That ball just dying there from Fenlison, and Hernandez able to win. Will Little gives it straight to Lewis Hilton. He puts it straight out of play. Lewis showing there that he's still got a bit of touch in his feet. But the tackle came in there on Louis Hilton. And a free kick. The Englishman who came to this country to play collegiately at Young Harris. On his 4th year in USL Championship. 2 seasons with Charlotte and now 2 seasons with St. Louis. Alexander. Swope Park, who haven't had too much of the ball in these last 15-20 minutes. For an opportunity to build up and create some chances. Segber's trying to play between the lines there, but given away. Cicerone. Whose touch took him out of play and out for a throw-in.
Both teams have had recent results where they've been good in defense, and this seems to be the story of this first half. No really major chances as yet. Both sides keeping a clean sheet, and certainly for Swope Park Rangers, that'll be something that delights their coach, Paulo Nagamura.
They're still looking for their first win in 2019. Do have 2 games in hand on St. Louis. 2 draws and 3 losses. Second from bottom entering the game in the Eastern Conference as Hernandez finds himself in a pocket of space. Lovely turn there around a bend, and he'll strike. And Fenlison didn't know that he had it covered. Decent attempt there from Hernandez.
It was a decent attempt, Hernandez. He wasn't far away, and you're quite right. Jake Fenlison scrambling to get across at full strength. Have a look here. Left foot shot, the goalkeeper doing really well to cover his goal, but he wasn't sure that was going to go wide, and he had to put in a full dive to make sure that he kept that clean sheet.
Felipe Hernandez has done good work through central midfield. Fenlison almost as though he's putting everything behind these goal kicks just to get it to the halfway line. Conditions playing a role. Run there by Camden Riley. On it down for Ayub Alak. Hasn't had too many opportunities to control the game from that central midfield position. He does try and send Jerome Mbakele down that left-hand side. Put out of play for a throw-in, which Mbakele gives to Wilson Harris. The tackle in there from Fink. Anywhere will do. Swope Park applying some pressure. Doing well to play out of it there, Reynolds.
Good closing down there from Swope Park Rangers, and Wilson Harris showing the effort there to make it difficult for St. Louis to play out from the back, forcing Fenlison to go long into that wind.
In there by Kyle Gregg to hold up. Guy at bend. Play the wind out to that right-hand side towards Audi Jepson, or excuse me, to Boehner. Does very well to keep it in play and leave it for Jepson, whose cross took a nick on the way through. Booted clear for a throw-in. Guy bend from central midfield is distributed very well.
Yeah, not easy to do, as you say. You've got to take into account that wind, and you want to try and switch it from side to side and stretch the opposing defense, and they've been able to do that reasonably well tonight, St. Louis. Here they go again, switching sides.
Sean Reynolds leaving it with Hilton. Now Cicerone playing it down the line for Reynolds. We can measure the cross, and it was towards that penalty spot, and waiting was Audi Jepson. Redshirt's doing well to get in the way. Now an opportunity for the counter-attack. Harris trying to slide it through for Hernandez. A bend.
Lewis Hilton saying he was tripped on the way through there, but referee says nothing. Lewis Hilton gets the ball back, and once again we saw a minute or two ago St. Louis in that box, spraying balls. The final pass just not of the required quality.
Cicerone leaving it for Audi Jepson! And what a strike that is! Audi Jepson with his first goal of the campaign. Cicerone again, the distributor. And what an opening goal that is for St. Louis FC, who lead by a goal to nil.
Absolutely brilliant strike there from Jepson. It flew, it sort of caught the wind a little bit, and Dayhouse was struggling to actually read the flight of that, and you can see how his teammates have got around him. The coach having a quiet word, not quite sure what about, but his teammates got around him really quickly because they could see the quality in that strike, and really so difficult for Zendejas to save it. Let's have a look at it again. It gets hit. Look at it from here. It's dipping, it's bending over the keeper on the underside of the crossbar. That is a wonderful strike. It has got to go in there, and maybe the goal of the weekend.
That is a goal delivered by Domino's, and what a hit it is for Audi Jepsen, who joined from Des Moines Menace in USL League 2. Now, in his first start of 2019, delivers an absolute firecracker, dipping over Adrian Zendejas.
Well, just before half-time, it's not the ideal thing for Swope Park Rangers and this young side, and it'll be a good test of their mental character and fortitude as to how they play their way back from 1-0 down away from home. And they have done reasonably well. There's been some nice touches from this young side, but it's goals and opportunities that count, and they haven't made enough opportunities as yet.
Lovely move from Swope Park Rangers. And now Harris. To go, anything you can do, I can do better.
It wasn't better, but it wasn't far off. Good strike, and it seems to have got a deflection. Was it the keeper's touch or a foot in the way? But either way, it's a corner for Swope Park Rangers. And again, the confidence to take a hit from there by young Wilson Harris. Let's see what they can do now from the set piece.
It is an Electro Savings corner. See Juan Kuzain having no use for the corner flag, which is taking a beating from the wind. And it's taken short there from Kuzain. Now Alexander lofting it in, and it actually died there, nearly fell there for Graham Smith. Body's going down, and it's going to be a free kick there on the foul from Graham Smith, going through Gaia Ben to try and win in the air. And a free kick here for St. Louis.
Gaia Ben seems to have got hit in that process there, and as soon as he went down, the referee gave the free kick. Didn't quite see what happened there, but generally speaking, if a defender does go down in the box in those moments, the referees tend to assume that there's been some contact. Obviously, VAR these days does sort that out to a large degree, as Anthony Pulis is considering what's happening. And 1-0 up, he's got to be happy with the home side so far there. Currently, as scores go, sitting top of the league in the Eastern Division.
Saw his side probe and try and create those chances, and finally one came to the feet of Audi Jepsen, who made no mistake.
Wow.
From 25 yards out, as we'll have a minimum of 2 minutes to be added on here at the end of this first half, presented by Paycor. Need more time in your business? Contact Paycor to handle your payroll and human resource needs.
That win making it so difficult there for Jake Finlayson to get the ball over the halfway line. Of course, that all gets reversed for the second half, and it'll be St. Louis who have this very gusty, strong wind behind them.
I feel like that would be very welcome news to Jake Finlayson at the break.
Yes, yes, very much so.
Throw in for Matt Boehner. Previously with FC Cincinnati in USL Championship. Former USL All-First Team player with Harrisburg City. USLs, that's given away there by Swope Park Rangers, and now Cicerone. Just play it towards that right-hand side. McKaylee was in the way, and Swope Park have won a throw. A passing move that led to the shot from Harris, probably their last best chance of this first half. And now Colin Nagamura will see his side down yet again.
Yep, been a tough season so far. 3 losses, 2 draws, and 1-0 down here. And to be fair, if you look at the number of opportunities created, St. Louis have created the vast majority. They've been in that box, they've been probing. Cicerone's been really good, and eventually they've got their just rewards. Even it's a great strike from outside the box. They have got the goal that counts at half-time. For Swope Park Rangers, yeah, 1 or 2 little half chances here and there, but just not quite enough to really impress. But they have the second half, and as I said, it's a good test of a young side to see how they can change things and come back in the next 45 minutes stronger.
Ellison will take his last goal kick into the wind. And he'll be very happy when it's over, as we have reached halftime here at Worldwide Technology Soccer Park. And what a strike from Austin Audi Jepsen, the native of Green Bay, Wisconsin, smacking one past Adrian Zendejas and giving St. Louis the lead at the break. Audi Jepsen with his first goal of the campaign in his first start of 2019, and that is proved the difference right now. We're into halftime, presented by Electrical Connection. More on the way as St. Louis FC lead at the break by 1-0.
The excitement that is sweeping the nation has arrived in St. Louis.
And a goal! It's Cicerone!
Fans are loving the authentic soccer experience. Tailgating, cheering, chanting, and much more. It's a party you won't want to miss.
Goal! St. Louis FC! And a goal! Manuel Kavita!
Get your tickets at stlouisfc.com.
Boy!
Junior programs, basically, there's two sides of it. There's a rec side and there's a select side. And basically, it's for ages 2 to 12.
So you start off by doing a little bit of a warm-up.
It's a developmental, kind of want to introduce the players to the game and kind of all in a fun environment and create a positive experience.
Our staff is first class, our facilities first class, and it's really a first class program.
St. Louis FC leading at the break by 1-0 over Swope Park Rangers. We are in halftime, presented by Electrical Connection. Audi Jepsen with a goal that has the hosts in front. There are those who seem to be born with a love for the beautiful game. For most of us, there's a mentor, someone who's there to teach us the game, and we eventually learn to love it. And then there's Ren Herzog, Missouri Youth Boys Director for St. Louis Scott Gallagher, a coach who is igniting this passion in all of his players. Tonight we go behind the shield with Ren. Take a look.
After my college career ended due to some concussions, I reflected on my playing days and my coaches that I had and what I would do in their shoes, or what I would have done in their shoes, or what I appreciated that they had done. And I realized there were things at the very start of my career that I wish I would have done better, wish I would have personally worked on better, wish I would have had maybe a better mentor, a better coach at the youngest age to make me sharper with the ball at my feet.
All right, we're going to start with our one-footed V behind the back. We're going to keep it nice and tight, hops with the opposite foot, and then when I say make it bigger, it just means get a bigger V. Working with younger players, you get to see instant gratification or instant results. Good, Grady. Better on that weaker foot. We're developing their habits for them at those younger ages. That left foot's catching us. Maybe at the older ages, they already have habits formed, and then you're working more on the tactical side. I work on the technical side, so getting to see players that can take what I'm teaching them, implement it into an activity, and see a result, and they get gratification. You can see that instant satisfaction on their face of, I just learned this, and now I can do this, and now if I continue to work at it, I get better. That's exciting for me. That's what, then I get to see it, and then I get to go watch it in a game as their coach. It's what I wake up for. I get so excited about it. So, Get underneath the cannon. Mason, you got to be on your toes, ready to move for that. I think it's really important that, one, they get feedback on what they're doing correctly and what they could do better. Letting them get the repetitions over and over and over again, you're going to help them through that and say, hey, you know, this is what you should be doing, and then hopefully the next time it gets better and it gets better and it gets better. And if it isn't getting better, then maybe they need a coaching point to make them sharper. They're doing something wrong that isn't allowing them to have success. Cannon, hardest work. Everybody give Cannon a round of applause. You have to make it fun. It's your job as the coach to ignite them and inspire them to want to do this, to want to get better. Stuff, Alex, give Alex a round of applause. Well done. It's easy to get working on the 3 V's, and it can be boring if you make it boring. But if you want to make it fun, you put little competitions into it. Who's going to be the hardest worker? Who's going to be the most creative player? And the kids feed off that, and they want to get that, and they want to get that recognition. And if they don't get that recognition, they want to get the next time. And so you do multiple competitions, and it does create an atmosphere and an environment where kids are buzzing and they want to be there and they get excited to come to training. Sitting them down and saying, hey, here's what we're going to work on. We're going to work really hard. Let's keep a high level of focus, a high level of discipline, but let's have a blast. High level of focus, high level of discipline, though, and we want to showcase the club well. Everybody got it? What makes a player actually want to come back and do it over and over again and want to get better? That's what the coach is there to do, to inspire them and ignite them. Pop here to receive and explode into your first step. Good, Jose. Sharper pass, Malik. Can't miss by 4 yards. Open up, play. Good, everyone, let's go.
And that is the story of Ren Herzog at St. Louis. Scott Gallagher, St. Louis FC leading by a goal to nil at the break. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the best from around USL Championship in week number 7.
Flemings around 1, around 2. Still Junior Flemings, he's gonna have a go! Excellent from Junior Flemings! Here's Spees looking for the curler, and what a save from Curtis Anderson! Guadarrama wants it himself! What a goal from Guadarrama!
The cross deflected, what a stop by Brown in the top corner. Another chance here for New Mexico, and they've got the equalizer.
Jadama will strike it with his right foot, whistle blows, steps, strikes, and saved by Rodriguez!
Here's Woodbine into the box. Van Schake's there, Van Shake!
Chance up for Louisville, and again, Callum Irving grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck as Ben Spees lets one fly and drills it like a Langsdorff header.
That's where Louisville wants to attack, shooting and scoring!
It's saved by Caldwell.
Collier.
Yeah.
Knock back towards Spencer. Brilliant finish.
The flick. Could it be 2? Yes, it is. That's Hellman.
Here's Banks. Banks from distance, and that's knocked away.
Gallardo. At the top of the box. Lee gets a touch, still driving in, sends it, and into the back of the net.
It's like Joe Gallardo took almost on the entire defense there. That left foot shot.
Chipped in, headed away by Lockby. Second chance coming, diving, stopped by Fitzgerald.
Minnesota and with Jacksonville. Nunez, and that finds the side of the net. Most of these, he takes this one.
And that's some of the best from around USL in the last week's time. You saw also our game of the week coming up with Louisville and Memphis on ESPN3. St. Louis leading at the break over Swope Park Rangers. We're in halftime, which is presented by Electrical Connection, as we take a look at some of the scores from around, the news and notes from around USL Championship. At the moment, Indy 11 moving up to number 1 in the power rankings. They have currently won 4 of their 5 matches on this campaign. A lot of competition at the top of the Eastern Conference. St. Louis, Indy 11, Tampa Bay among those in the conversation. Where do you see St. Louis in that picture?
Well, currently they're going to be top because they win today. That's where they go. New York Red Bulls 2 is not far behind on third spot. And as you say, Indy 11, North Carolina, and Charleston Battery. But right now, St. Louis looking good if the score remains at the top of the Eastern Conference.
Hartford Athletic, you saw they're adding an MLS midfielder in Colin Martin. As you take a look at the schedule coming up tomorrow, of course, plenty of games going on right now. We'll tell you more about those in the second half. But Ottawa Fury will take on Atlanta United 2, New York Red Bulls 2, and Indy 11. That is a big one at the top of the Eastern Conference as well. LA Galaxy 2 out west will play host to Las Vegas Lights. Louisville and Memphis is our ESPN game of the week coming up later on Tuesday. St. Louis, though, right now lead at the break by a goal to nil in the Electric Connection halftime show. We'll come back and show you the highlights, including Austin Audi Jepson's fantastic strike that opened the scoring over Swope Park Rangers.
A year ago, local soccer fans had a chance to celebrate.
And for the first time in club history, St. Louis FC are into the postseason.
Tickets for St. Louis FC on sale now. You can be a part of the action.
And might that just be the goal that sends St. Louis FC into the Western Conference playoffs?
There's season tickets, single game, group, and flex tickets. Something for everyone with St. Louis FC. Support your local team. stlouisfc.com.
The excitement that is sweeping the nation has arrived in St. Louis.
A goal! It's Cicerone!
Fans are loving the authentic soccer experience. Tailgating, cheering, chanting, and much more. It's a party you won't want to miss.
Goal! St. Louis FC! Hit a goal! Fan welcome Vita!
Get your tickets at stlouisfc.com.
St. Louis lead at the break by a goal to nil. Chris Whittingham, Gary Bailey here for commentary of this one. And at the moment, St. Louis FC would go top of the Eastern Conference as results hold in the USL Championship. As we now take a look at first half highlights of this one, we're in halftime presented by Electrical Connection. And Gary, the chances would come thick and fast for St. Louis FC, and Russell Cicerone was the danger man in that first half.
He certainly was. Cross into the box. No one can get on the end of it, but he was sharp, he was quick, he caused all sorts of problems.
And here would be Kyle Gregg with a nice first touch, but his shot straight at Zendejas.
Yeah, I expected more from Kyle Gregg. He was in a really good position there, but here they come again. St. Louis down that left-hand side. Cicerone again causing problems. You'll see he'll put the ball across, it gets cleared, and then from a lying position, he actually hits the post. Here he is again, trying to create a few problems. Good save. I mean, that's an absolutely wonderful save from Zendejas there, from a great strike from Cicerone.
And Zendejas will try and start one of the few chances here for Swope Park Rangers in this first half. Well done there, Mbakele leaving it for Harris. The first time shoots over the bar. There would be Hernandez, and Fenelson had to sprawl, and it just dragged wide.
Yeah, wasn't too far wide. The keeper was stretching. Cicerone, guess who? Looking at what a strike. This is the moment. This is absolutely brilliant from Audi Jepson there. Have a look. He gets set up, but he's still a long way out. He's all of 23, 24 yards out. And that ball just dips. You can see the coach, Anthony Pulis, is delighted. But he hits it, and it's one of those wonderful strikes that just flies, moves, hits the crossbar, and hits the back of the net.
Let's take a look at the first half stats. 3 shots on target for St. Louis FC, and despite the none for Swope Park, they did create a few chances, which we just showed you there. But after starting well, Swope Park took them a while to get back into this game after St. Louis dominated for long periods.
Yeah, and you've got to have quality in the box. And we were saying St. Louis were in the box. They just couldn't find the quality. They eventually did. Certainly for Swope Park Rangers, 5 shots, 0 on target. That has to improve. You have to make the goalkeeper work if you're going to win this game. And they're 1-0 down, and they have to do something to Swope Park Rangers.
For Audi Jepson, joined the club midway through last campaign, only appeared 4 times, only started twice. Making just his first start of this 2018 campaign, so in 3 starts, he gets his first goal for the club. What a first goal it is. It's the kind of a first goal that players dream of.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of those, you hit it and you wonder if it's going to go into row X or Y, and if instead it just clips the crossbar and goes in the back of the net.
At this ground, it's the neighboring field that you'd be hitting it into. Maybe hit a car that's parked over there. Lewis Hilton will get us started in this second half. And St. Louis FC now with the wind at their backs get started in the second half. In their home greens with the blue and white trim, Swope Park in the all-white, needing to overturn this 1-0 deficit. The St. Louis FC, a side proficient at defending, would not want to see this lead go to waste. 4 clean sheets in 7. Now 45 minutes of one here tonight as well. To maybe add a second or a third, but you know Anthony Pulish's message at the break was make sure that 0 stays the same. Albert Dikwa losing out. Comes back for Adrian Zendejas. We'll leave it here with Camden Riley, will partner alongside Graham Smith in central defense. Alexander, the Brazilian left back, booting up to Jerome Mbekele. Ayubalak. Play onto this right-hand side. And it had gone out of play first for a throw-in. Just to reset these teams, Swope Park with Zendejas in goal. Right to left in the back 4, Segbers, Smith, Riley, and Alexander. In central midfield, Ayubalak and Juan Kuzain and Felipe Hernandez in front of him. On the right, Will Little. Up top, Wilson Harris. And on this left-hand side, Jerome Mbekele. Cicerone leaving it for Reynolds. He's come forward, Dikwa just trying to leave it there for Cicerone. What a goal this would be! And it could still fall for Cicerone! And it is 2-0 for St. Louis. What a move for the hosts! Albert Dikwa's first-time ball, leaving it there for Cicerone. It makes it 2-0 for St. Louis FC.
Well deserved for Cicerone. He was the star of the first half, and he's come up trumps already in the second half. He made the run, he got the shot, and he followed it up, and he saw it into the back of the net. And great delight there for St. Louis and the St. Louligans. Let's have a look at it again and see the build up to this. Albert Dikwa lays it off. Cicerone gets on the end of it, stays there, keeps following it up, and he's the first to get to the loose ball. And he certainly created loads of opportunities in the first half. It didn't fall for him. It has now. And it's 2-0 to St. Louis.
And Russell Cicerone gets his deserved goal, 3rd on the season. You have to say that ball from Dikwa just taking the sting out of it, leaving it there for the run of Cicerone. Kind of distribution worthy of a player wearing that number 10 on the night.
Now there's a mountain to climb for Swope Park Rangers. You come out of that locker room with the coach saying, come on, let's get back on level terms. And within 2 minutes, you're 2-0 down. This is a big test for a team whose average age is around about 21 years of age, which is incredibly young. It's a big test for them. Can they get themselves back in the match? Obviously, 1 goal, and suddenly they'll feel they're in with a shot. But 2-0 down away at St. Louis. This is a tough, tough situation for Swope Park Rangers.
St. Louis, at times a year ago, struggled to get that second after dominance, allow teams to get back into the game, and you have to say now, given their defensive record on the year, 2-goal advantage. It's going to be quite the comeback required. Swope Park Rangers. USL Championship, it's not always guaranteed that these results will hold. Gary, you just had a game last night featuring Fresno. Comes back from 2-0 down with just 10 minutes to play.
Yep. They did. They got the 2-2 draw, and they were outplayed for 75 minutes. But they did come back strong But we saw a gradual improvement in their play in the second half. This is what Swope Park Rangers are going to have to do. Improve, get around their box, put in good quality balls, cause St. Louis all sorts of problems, and work Jake Finlayson. And that's what's going to be the task that is necessary here for the team all in white.
Now Harris leaving it for Hernandez, just tries to slide it there for Alak, who does well to ward off the challenge. And play in Bekele. On this near side, can he deliver well towards that penalty area? Leaving it short here for Alexander, who's come forward and tries to send in the cross. Strong tackle, though, there from Boehner. Bekele. His left-footed delivery will come for Alak, but Dikwa gets across him first. A couple of chances there to deliver. Now, poorly given away. The strike in from Kuzain. Goes straight off a defender. A bit more like it for Swope Park Rangers.
Very much so. We haven't seen them do this in the entire match, but they're getting onto the edge of the box. They're trying shots. They're trying to maneuver the ball around the St. Louis box and trying to see if they can thread something through. Much better from the young side.
And Bekele will have a hit. Does go sailing into the adjacent field for 20-year-old Bekele. Comes on loan from a club in the Czech Republic. A chance on, and certainly a far better start to the second half than he had at first.
And you might find playing against the wind actually works for Swope Park Rangers, because you can knock the ball long and it doesn't go out of play. So we'll see which team adjusts better in the second half.
So Louis in the live table are going top of the Eastern Conference if this result holds. Riley forced to put it out to touch. For a club in St. Louis that a year ago were just pleased to make the postseason. I'll be in and around that conversation at the top of the table. Certainly that step forward that Anthony Poulos would have been looking for from his side. Still early days. USL Championship season as Greg tries to nod down for himself. Towards Reynolds. Now Dikwa might have done better to turn the other direction. Fink. Ben very calmly playing through midfield. Reynolds frustrated there. The first time flick didn't come off for him, and it will be a throw in here for Swope Park.
That situation now where St. Louis 2-0 up can just control the ball and keep possession and just try and pickpocket Swope whenever they have the ball, like now, and they can relax a little bit with this 2-0 lead. Very much the emphasis now on Swope Park Rangers creating more and more opportunities in that St. Louis box.
St. Louis trying to press up now, maybe even force another mistake to really put this game to bed. Strong tackle in there from Hilton. It comes for Alexander. Now Harris first time here for Hernandez. Will Little was making a run, but Hernandez turned the other direction. And a tackle in there from Alexander, catching Jepson.
They'll take that free kick and just slow the game down and keep some possession. And they're well in the driving seat now, St. Louis. Feeling confident against this very, very young Swope Park Rangers. They'll know they're a young side and that they can control them, so they'll think. It's up to the team in white to prove otherwise.
Boehner. Sliding tackle in there from Riley. St. Louis, after winning 4 of their first 5 matches, draw and a loss in their last 2. Draw a weekend ago in Pittsburgh, who tonight themselves earned another draw, needing 2 late goals in the 88th and 92nd minute to earn a 2-2 draw off of Nashville.
Well, there's always hope. 88th and 92nd. This game is not over. As you mentioned last night, it was 15 minutes from time and 2 goals, and that match you just mentioned, it's 2 minutes from time and they still get 2 goals. So St. Louis can't take anything for granted, but certainly if you're taking a snapshot of the game right now, they look very much in control, very confident, very comfortable.
You usually can't say job done You get 3, which is what North Carolina did earlier today. Won by 4 goals to 1 over Hartford Athletic. A very difficult start to their life in USL. 8 matches, 8 losses, 22 goals conceded.
Welcome to the USL.
Not always the case for expansion sides, but for Hartford, who played their first 8 matches away from home, and found it particularly difficult. As the ball's played over the top, you see wind is making life difficult for Kavita and Fenlison, but ball eventually ending up in the goalkeeper's hands.
I think the goalkeeper's saying, look, my bad, I didn't call loudly enough, or I didn't do whatever I was meant to do. He seemed to be apologizing to his central defender.
Nice ball there from Hilton and play into the channel for Cicerone, but well recovered there by Segbers, and Smith with Dequa pressuring. Just played here for Little.
Difficult for Swope Park Rangers to play out. The foul given against Lewis Hilton, but a lot of green shirts there, making it extremely difficult for the Rangers to play their way out of their half. And don't forget, they're against the wind as well, so it's not easy to knock the ball long.
You must wonder if different tactics would have been employed for the wind, and with the inability to hit it long. Do you press more? You can play it on the ground at Cicerone. Has to leave it there for Dequa. A bit too close there to Smith. Concerns tonight in the St. Louis area. Weather affecting actual playing of the game, as was the case a weekend ago in Pittsburgh, with lightning delaying proceedings. Just a bit of wind tonight. Worldwide Technology Soccer Park. Reynolds in line for Cicerone, but just ran out of play.
Well, just thinking, if you had to pick a man of the match so far, 56 minutes, got to be Cicerone for me. And it was a wonderful strike from Adi Jepson, but overall contribution and the second goal, I think Cicerone has been a real class act tonight.
Gets the assist on the first one as well.
Yep,
laying the ball off for Jepson. He's carried almost all of the danger tonight. You see trigger points there for St. Louis to press.
It's so difficult for Swope to play out from the back. Have a look at this, closing them down everywhere. There you go, they've won the ball back again.
Done there by Boehner. And now Fink boots it out of play, and you hear very clearly from our pitch side microphones, Anthony Poulos shouting, "Go!"
Push forward, keep the pressure on.
Seeing those opportunities to make life difficult for Swope Park Rangers. Quite a bit of work to do to change this one. You see that even though the ball is on this near side, both Segbers and Little are hugging the touchline on the far side, trying to use the width, as they do here through Segbers. Tackle comes in though from Reynolds, now for a corner.
That's nice play there from Swope Park. Nice fluent play, the ball just moving across the pitch and then up that right-hand side. They look so comfortable on the ball at times. They need that final product. What can they do inside the box? What can they do with this set piece?
It is Hernandez to take it.
Once again, this discussion, the referee trying to separate all the warring parties in the box.
Referee Lucas Spala has not had a ton to do, except on corners, as this is an Electro Savings corner lofted towards the back post. And always going to be difficult to play that ball in with the wind, and it goes sailing out of play.
It's a missed opportunity there from Hernandez. It's unfortunate with the best of corners. You want to take advantage of the wind by putting it into the 6-yard box and let the wind move the ball around. Unfortunately, they went straight out of play, so opportunity goes a begging.
Boehner manages to keep it in play. Jepson and Greg with Dequa now making the run. Dequa with the flag up on the near side. Ball might have been better there for Jepson. Did very well to continue his run.
difficult to switch it in this wind, isn't it? Very, very difficult. Maybe they'd be better suited, Swope Park Rangers, just playing it along the ground. They've got such lovely touches.
That flag on the far side above the stand is just flailing in either direction. There's STL there on the top of your screen.
Yeah. It's a strong wind. It's not just a little wind. This, you can see from the state of those flags that it is pumping down there, and it makes it extremely difficult once the ball leaves the surface.
Throw in for St. Louis. Nearing on the hour mark. St. Louis well in control. The conditions have played a role, but have not affected the home side tonight. Boehner really came to Dikwa there. Greg electing not to play it, thinking he was off. Alexander. Dikwa getting in the way of Alak and Riley. Throwing for Swope Park. Interesting to see in the week, of course, St. Louis club well known for producing young talent. An area well known for producing young talent. Academy U15 player Wyatt Lewis has been invited to train with AS Roma in the Italian Serie A.
Wow, that's an exciting invite for him. It's never a bad thing to go abroad, especially into Europe, and spend some time with their professional setups, because the level of football there is so high. You get a good sense of where you need to be, and especially if you're one of the best in the US at your age group, you might not be the best when you go into Europe, and that'll push you to go higher and higher and try and match the best in the world.
As Will Little heads towards the byline, Will Little gets turned very well. The left-footed delivery is towards that penalty spot, but really no one there, only a bend. Taken down by Segbers now. Will Little have another bite at it. Hernandez trying to slide it through. It was a decent idea towards Wilson Harris, but not for the goal kick.
That's a little bit better from Swope. You're just probing on the edge of the box, looking for the ball in, the dangerous ball, the one that someone like Harris can just turn and strike on goal. So we certainly are seeing a little bit more from the visitors. And yeah, there's still 30 minutes left, or nearly, so they have time, but we would like to see them be more effective when they put St. Louis under pressure.
Charging on away, Cicerone again into the path of Kyle Gregg. The sliding tackle came in from Segbers. Appeals from the St. Louligans for a penalty, unheard by the referee.
That's so close for Kyle Gregg. We saw him last season and how good he was in those situations. Just struggling to get the goals this season. First touch maybe just allowed the ball to run away from him. But an opportunity nonetheless, and St. Louis still probing and looking for that third. Let's have a look at the ball here. Cicerone with the pass. First touch just ran away from Kyle Gregg slightly. Just couldn't quite get on the end of it.
No penalty for you?
I didn't see enough there. Did you?
I did not.
Then it's settled.
But perhaps the fans in that corner would disagree with us. They're certainly loudly shouting. They have to, don't they?
Of course they do. It's part of the game. Players appealing for penalties is also part of the game. Whether they think it is a penalty or not, they're going to appeal.
But Gregg didn't really. He knew that tackle came in from Segbers as Boehner hits the cross. First time towards Gregg. Second ball comes out to a bend who tries to head towards Reynolds, and away by Will Little. You can always tell the penalty claim is not too strong when even the player doesn't ask for it.
True.
It's difficult to work out that first touch on this service, but you have to say the pace on that ball from Cicerone was inch perfect.
Yeah, he has been inch perfect all night long, Cicerone. Very impressed with him. And the way St. Louis are going, he could be one of the star players. If they finish top of the conference, I expect that we'll hear a lot more about Cicerone.
Well done there by Dikwa. Step into that passing lane. touch there from Malak. And the Belgian for the Brazilian. First player signs that met at the World Cup. Benjamin Brazil was coming in off that left-hand side. The Cameroonian in Bekele. Segbers. And Little returning. Back for Camden Riley, and you see, as you mentioned earlier, Gary, the two banks of four setting up for St. Louis.
Hardly any space at the back there. It's so difficult to force Swope to play through those two banks of four. With him searching for space.
There's now Alexander hit with his right and pulling one back for Swope Park Rangers. The Brazilian with his first goal for the club. And the left-footed player on his weaker foot, putting one past Fenlison. What a strike that is for the 20-year-old Alexander, 2-1.
Perfect timing as well. We were just talking about, can they get the breakthrough and can they strike on target as they're about to make a substitution. What a great strike from Alexander. Seemed to bounce a couple of times, but it was right in the corner and made it extremely difficult for Jake Finlayson to get on the end of that. Let's have a look at it again. Goes inside, hits it early, gets enough power in it, beats the keeper, and they're back in the game.
They just needed the moment, and it comes from Alexander. Change happening there is coming on Killian Columbi for Jerome Mbekele. And that substitution is brought to you by Cigna. Here's the young Killian Columbi. Low drive away. You see the wind taking that ball well clear of the penalty area. Alexander. Graham Smith. Will Little. Try to play the 1-2 there with Kuzain. Goes down to the tackle of Greg, who threw his arms up. The strike in from Malak. And now St. Louis start to feel that pressure.
Yep, they certainly will. We said there's enough time to get back in it. The question we asked, though, was did this young team of Swope Park Rangers have it in them to get back in this match? And the answer is absolutely yes. Thunderous strike there from Alexander. It's 2-1. It's game on, and we saw last night with Fresno. They were 2-0 down, came back to 2-2. We've seen other examples of it, so let's see if Swope Park Rangers can get themselves back onto level terms.
Now Fenlison almost enjoying distribution in the second half, using the wind to hit it well into the Swope Park half. Now Columbi trying to slide it through towards Harris. Well read there by Fink, who cut out. Away towards Greg. Clean sheet gone for St. Louis. Looking for their 5th in 8 matches. Did you have any issues with affording Alexander that space? Couldn't possibly have expected that, although it is a Brazilian fullback, so there's always that possibility, but
I'm sure St. Louis will look at it and say, well, they could have done better defensively, but I agree with you. Alexander, great run, cut inside. He hits it really hard and right into the far corner so that Jake Finlayson is struggling to reach the ball. I think give credit to the strike of the ball. It was a really, really good effort. And now the big question is, it's game on. Who's got the desire to win this? Who's got the ability? And can St. Louis get themselves back in the driving seat with a 3rd goal, or will it be Swope Park and the youngsters who get back on level terms?
Reynolds trying to leave it there for Jepson. Now Dikwa into the penalty area. Turning and leaving it with Boehner. This might have looked on, but no options to his right. See Reynolds, though, getting a bit more comfortable going forward. A bend. And Dikwa. Cross is delivered towards Greg. Cut out well, though, on that back post by Smith. The tackle came in, though, for Boehner, and quite a tackle it was, out for the goal kick.
Yeah, Alexander felt the full weight of that tackle. But he's got his team back in the match. He won't be worried too much. And certainly is going to be difficult now for Swope. Get the sense that St. Louis, going to keep this high press. They're going to make it difficult for them to play out from the back. And they're going to try and hustle their way to that third goal. Look at that amount of pressure on that defense, and they still managed to play their way out.
Sendejas and Alak doing very well. They're playing 10-yard passes to each other inside their own penalty area.
Risky, but it's worked out for them.
Harris. Riley. They look ready to press, but Swope Park only affording them that opportunity at the moment. Alexander, the goal scorer, leaving it for Riley.
It's all lovely football across the back here by Swope Park Rangers, but just to remind them, they are 2-1 down. They're going to have to get into the opponent's half. Here they go.
Still 20 minutes to get that job done.
Yep.
Would have said after that second goal was scored, and after Greg had a chance for a third, that did not look likely, but Swope Park growing into the game and getting the goal through Alexander.
And this is what the coach Paulo Nagamura would want, to be tested, to have these young players tested, to look at them and see have they got the strength to come back from 2-0 down, which so far they have. This is what will let him know whether these players are destined for the top or not.
Hernandez trying to get the cross in. Will come out to Alexander. Wouldn't have another go, surely.
I think he thought about it there for a moment.
He did indeed. Columbi. And now, decent ball towards that back post. The bounce, nice for Will Little. Towards that byline, Little back towards Harris. And will come out, the left-footed strike is in! And I believe they came off the frame of the goal. The first time strike on the follow from Columbi, going wide. But Fenlison tested again, and just about getting the job done. Believe the strike came in from Kuzain, as now we'll have another change for Swope Park.
Oh, what a good move that is, and I'm not quite sure if Fenlison actually got a hand on that or not from Kuzain. And Columbi just wide with his effort, but St. Louis, they thought this match was easy, playing the second bottom team. They're beginning to rethink that right at this very moment, I would guess. Putting up a real fight here, Swope Park Rangers, this young side, and they must really be impressing their manager, Paulo Nagamura, with the way they've come back into this game, and they're looking more and more confident by the minute.
The change on for Swope Park, Sean Karani on for Wilson Harris. And that change is presented by Cigna. So Nagamura already using 2 of his changes. Only 5 substitutes available to Anthony Poulos. Injuries affecting an already short squad. Poulos has generally kept it the last couple of years. Maybe 19 or 20 players. Trusting his first choice team. Good opportunity on though for Swope Park. Battle the frame of the goal as Riley plays it out for the substitute Columbi. There's only Karani to aim at, so we'll turn and leave it with Ayubalak. Alexander will try and play the 1-2 with Columbi. Hernandez. Kuzain in space. Little. More like it from Swope Park. Will Little onto his left. And sailing well wide.
It was a poor strike, unfortunately, at the end. Otherwise, it was a really good move. And you get the sense that Swope Park Rangers are playing around with St. Louis a little bit. They're controlling the game then. And you can see Paulo Nagamura, the coach there, must be very impressed with the way his team have come back in that second half. They're playing some really good football, Swope Park Rangers, and you get the sense that St. Louis would happily snap your hand off if you stop the game right now, 2-1, because they've been giving a little bit of a runaround by the young team in white.
Yes, it will be a free kick here for St. Louis. Let's go ahead and take a look at the chance for Swope Park Rangers, and nearly led to the equalizer.
That's a shot from outside the box. Kuzain on the ball there. He lets rip. Hits the crossbar. I don't know if Finlayson got maybe a fingertip on that, and then Columbia comes up and smashes it just past the post. Let's see from the set piece whether St. Louis can get themselves back into a 2-goal lead.
And it will be Hilton to deliver towards the area. Fink can win in the air. He certainly can score the goals, but that time trying to nod back for a teammate and just boot it away. There's now a first change coming on for St. Louis as score the opening goal. Audi Jepson will come off. And it is Kadeem Dakers, starter of 5 of St. Louis's 8 matches on the year. Comes on as a sub.
His goal is still, Audi Jepson still an exceptional strike. He's getting applause from everybody on the bench for a job really well done.
That change brought to you by Signa as Dikwa is onside. Tries to deliver it towards Greg. Just get the sense with Dikwa that all is on early and just takes that extra second, allows the defender to recover.
Yeah, he hasn't done, I mean, normally he impresses me a lot, Dikwa, but tonight he's been very quiet, as has Carl Gregg. The pair of them last season were on fire at times. They were really impressive, but it's been Cicerone who's been doing most of the damage, and Dikwa and Gregg relatively quiet, but they have 15 minutes to show us what they can do.
And it's Hilton over the Electro Savings corner. Just swung towards that back post. Free header for Kavita towards his fellow green shirts. Will still come here for Fanuel Kavita. Just tried to get it out of his feet for Cicerone, who does very well to ward off the challenges coming from Karani, but eventually won by Swope Park. And now Karani away with options either side of him for Sean Karani. Tries to play the ball out wide towards Kuzain, but just left it short. And now Cicerone winning the ball back for St. Louis. Russell Cicerone with 2 to aim at. Plays it towards Greg. And it came off him and Camden Riley, who manages to get it away. A bit more end-to-end.
Yeah, Cicerone doing really well there to get that ball in, as you mentioned, just behind Kyle Gregg. But once again, the major threat coming from the number 9 there for St. Louis. And moments earlier, it was Swope Park Rangers on the counter-attack. So the match is really opening up at 2-1. I'm sure if you're neutral, you're thoroughly enjoying this game because there's end-to-end activity and all sorts of possibilities. And if you're a St. Louis fan, you're probably a little bit more nervous, chewing on the fingernails, thinking we're top of the Eastern Conference at this moment in time, but things could change.
Columbia. Left here for Kuzain. Killian Columbia again. Will deliver towards that back post. Cut up by Reynolds. Will still come here though for Little. We'll just let it go out of, or keep it in play. I was going to allow it to run for a throw. Instead back for Segbers. See the 18-year-old Sean Karani coming on and making an early impact, pressing to win the ball, leading Swope Park on a counter-attack, but well done by St. Louis to snuff it out. Here's Halak. See Karani pointing towards his run, but sandwiched right in between those 2 central defenders. Here's Columbia. 4 years at Iona College. The Frenchman. And this ball is delivered towards that back post, and Finlayson in this win doing very well to track the ball and catch.
Yeah, good feet movement there by the goalkeeper to get himself in a comfortable position to catch it. He's taking his time now, slowing things down, get everybody up. He can boot this ball up into the wind and let it carry a fair distance. Let's have a look how far it goes. Oh, right there to the midway point in that half. And certainly they can now apply the pressure, St. Louis, and try and keep Swope Park Rangers in their half of the pitch.
Probably rather enjoyed the change to the second half. I get to boot it halfway into the opposing side's half rather than just struggling to get it to the halfway line.
I always much preferred to have the wind behind my back. It's so easy to clear your lines and get your forwards in with long kicks. When you're against the wind and you can't even reach the halfway line, then you're constantly under pressure.
I imagine there were some windy days at Old Trafford.
Oh yeah, not just Old Trafford, but when you're away from home and going places in England in the middle of winter. The weather plays a rather large part of the game.
Where were the most difficult places?
Oxford had a pitch that had a slope on it that if you rolled the ball from the top, it rolled all the way to the bottom. So that not only was the pitch slope, but when the wind was against you, it was hell to play.
As Boehner tugged from behind there from Columbia, and Boehner asking for yellow for the substitute, Killian Columbia, and it will just be a normal foul. Perhaps a talking to coming here. It will indeed be our first yellow of the match for the substitute, Killian Columbia. First of this match from Lucas Spalla.
It's clumsy in the end from Columbia. Know what he was trying to do there, but there was a defender waiting to make the tackle for him. Didn't really need to get himself a yellow card. Now he's going to have to tread very, very carefully for the remainder of the match. Mind you, there only is 10 minutes left, but nonetheless, he's going to have to tread carefully.
Already his third on the year for Columbia. And now Hilton and Dakers over this free kick with 5 to aim at. And Hilton will deliver towards that penalty spot. The header took a nick on the way through. It might still come here for Kavita. Tackled off it there by Segbers. And now a free kick for Swope Park. St. Luligans in that corner, not pleased with that decision.
I love the St. Luligans. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, that ball in the box caused a few problems. Yeah, bouncing around there, and if the green shirt had got on the end of it, it could have been a third goal, but not to be, and we're still just a 1 goal separating these two teams. And Swope with it, Swope Park Rangers with it to do in the second half now to get themselves back on level terms at least.
Bit of a loose ball there at the back, and now I think we might see yellow again as Kyle Gregg retrieved, and Ayub Alak.
Will be a yellow, I'm sure.
Not pleased at all with that tackle, as Alexander was playing it out towards Segbers, and that was a late tackle in there that caught the goal scorer for Swope Park, and now I believe will be Gregg into the book.
So look at it again, Gregg stretching there. Yeah, he does catch him on the back of the heel there. It's a late tackle, and it's sure going to get him a yellow card. Yep.
There is the decision. So after 80 minutes without a booking, we've had 2 in 90 seconds. There's now a final change on here for Swope Park Rangers, presented by Cigna. It will be Rasumbek Akhmetov, and it is indeed a native of Chechnya. That comes on for Felipe Hernandez.
Lovely football again from Swope Park Rangers. Lovely interplay.
Alexander on his way trying to feed in the oncoming Akhmetov. Just a bit too far out in front.
They certainly have made a game of this, the youngsters. And I think no matter what happens here today, great credit to them and Paulo Nagamura for what they're trying to do with an average age of somewhere around about 21, 22 years of age. It's an incredibly young side. And they've come back from 2-0 down, they've come to 2-1, they've played some really good football, and they're really pushing St. Louis right here to the end.
Dequa trying to rise and flick on. Let's come back towards Gregg, but away by Smith. 7 minutes plus stoppage time as the shove in the back there on Hilton from Will Little earned St. Louis a free kick.
Hilton doing well just to win that free kick. There's the slightest of bumps. Now he slows it all down, pushes the team up, starts running down the clock a little bit. There you go, blaming the wind for the ball moving.
You know all the tricks of the trade, don't you, Gary?
All good professional stuff.
Hilton lofts up towards Fink. The header on the back post! And that might just seal the victory for St. Louis FC. Kyle Gregg gets his goal. He's had his chances, but it's on the set piece that he converts his second of the year. St. Louis 3, Swope Park Rangers 1.
Yeah, fantastic finish from Gregg. That's the Gregg we saw last season, finishing them off. But credit to Sam Fink, someone who's really got 3 goals himself. He sets it up absolutely brilliantly. Lovely ball into the box there from Lewis Hilton. And let's have a look at it again. Here we are, flighted high, but look how well Sam Fink gets up to win this and put it right on Kyle Gregg's head, and he smacks it in the back of the net. There goes Sam Fink. Fantastic header, with direction, straight to Carl Gregg. He says, thank you very much. Game, set, and match.
And the forwards getting involved. The central defenders have outscored the forwards so far on this campaign, but it's actually Fink who gets the assist for that goal delivered by Domino's. Sam Fink involved now in 4 goals, 3 to himself, and now his first assist. Despite the attacking output from a central defender. And now Swope Park, another mountain to climb. They got the one back, make it 2-1, and now with 5 minutes plus stoppages. Quite a lot to do. Smith and Segbers, former first-round draft pick in MLS. The New England Revolution is now another tackle is in. That time it's Cavito went sliding through and caught Karani. And now a free kick in a fairly dangerous area for Swope Park.
Well, I said game, set, and match. Did I say it too early, perhaps, for St. Louis? 5 minutes left. If they can get one here, Swope Park, they're back in it. They have to do something with a set piece, the same way St. Louis did. Long ball in, win the first ball, and direct it to someone to finish it off. Such a good set piece from St. Louis. Let's see if Swope Park Rangers can do something similar.
And it is the substitute Akhmetov and Kuzain who won it. Referee is saying that's not where I wanted that ball placed. And now, will it be Kuzain or will it be Akhmetov? It'll be one Kuzain who tries to loft one towards that back post, but always going wide.
They seem to move a lot in the wind as well. I'd like to see that shot again, but yeah, didn't give Finlayson too many concerns.
Now it will be a second change for Anthony Pulis, presented by Cigna, and it's Oscar Umar who will come on for Lewis Hilton. Rare to see the Englishman get even a moment's break, but the Ghanaian who comes to the club from Richmond Kickers will come on for a cameo here at the end of this match. Cicerone again involved in all that is good for St. Louis FC. Well done there to win though by Segbers. Tried to return it towards Alak, but instead gave it away to Dakers, who now, with the fresh pace of a substitution, is going to get past the defender. Dakers back towards Gregg, and a bit behind him. Dequa not yet arriving and away.
Well done to St. Louis. You're 3-1 up. You could easily sit on that lead. Instead, they're pushing forward. They're trying to get a fourth. They're trying to keep Swope Park Rangers in their half. And that's the right way to hold on to your lead. Run down the clock in your opponent's half. It pretty much guarantees you the win.
Reynolds into Cicerone, but one back by Kuzain. Alexander left it short there for Colombi. And now Boehner with a lovely touch, leaving the left back in the dust. Boehner tries to cross towards Dequa, but well cut out there by Camden Riley. Still Dakers, and the tackle in there from Mayu Balak, and a free kick for St. Louis. As you said earlier, Gary, they will take their sweet time.
Yeah, perfect position for St. Louis to be in. 2 goals up, set piece, chance to run down the clock a little bit, and well played there to get that free kick. Good skills from Dakers. Cicerone, who's had a really, really good match. I think he's lining himself up for a shot from here.
I was just going to ask if he was lining up an opportunity to strike Russell Cicerone. Certainly playing with a lot of confidence on the night. There is Cicerone. It is indeed a hit towards goal.
Not a bad strike either.
Very awkward trajectory off the right foot, but just sailing over the bar.
Yeah, well, it had Zendeja scrambling there at the back. Maybe the wind a little bit too strong and overhit the ball. This is high press again from St. Louis. It makes it so difficult. Forces the error there from Swope Park Rangers, and they've done that really well, St. Louis, throughout the match. Made it difficult for this young defense to play their way out of the back.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe Adrian Zendejas has played the ball long for the whole of this match. It is pure commitment to playing out as Karani tackled off it.
Yeah, it's a nice ethos to have to play out from the back. But every once in a while you do have to go long, so it's nice to mix it up.
It's a bit awkward there from Sean Reynolds. Now a chance on here for Karani. Into the penalty area, the substitute Karani. Don't know if that was an opportunity to square or to shoot, but either way, it is not the best work there for Swope Park as we are into second half stoppage time. A minimum of 3 minutes added on. Presented by Paycor. Need more time in your business? Contact Paycor to handle your payroll and human resource needs. Swope Park, we're going to make this an interesting finale. Karani had to score there. Zane wins the ball back in central midfield. This will be a fourth loss in 6. 2 points from their first available 18 for Swope Park Rangers. This is a side that almost its entire existence in USL have had success that have carried them into the postseason. Now a season back to the drawing board for Paulo Nagamura.
Well, I think his main aim is obviously to blood the youngsters, and if that's what he's trying to do, then he's doing a very good job. He might not be worried about making the playoffs. It's going to be very difficult to make the playoffs and keep playing a team of just youngsters every single week. So depends on what he's been told to do, what his brief is. But certainly there's some wonderful talent out there, and it's so exciting to see. And they really came back so well from 2-0 down to 2-1 to start making a game of it. Yep. More professionalism from St. Louis, and in the end they were just too strong for the young visitors. But they need to learn quickly, this team in white, and if they do, they might still have a say in the playoffs.
Free kick now on the edge of the penalty area. Just a bit further out. 5 or so yards, an opportunity for Akhmatov. The referee had signaled for a change, but St. Louis declining it as Akhmatov will deliver. Comes all the way through. Upward swing at it there from Boehner. It comes out for Umar, and now chance on for Dakers to chase as Zendejas to come off his line. An awkward clearance though. Can Dakers take advantage to get around the keeper? Kadeem Dakers does get around him eventually. A strike towards goal with the sliding intervention in from the free kick taker Akhmatov, who recovered to stop it being 4.
Well, there's my point about trying to play too much out the back. That's one of those occasions where you just boot the ball up the pitch. And instead Zendejas in all sorts of trouble, and only a great tackle at the end there, getting him out of trouble. But sometimes you can't play it nice and easy, and it's fine to just boot the ball down the pitch. So again, lessons to be learned from the young Swope Park Rangers team as St. Louis just wind down the clock with a substitution. Job done. 3 points in the bag and top of the Eastern Division.
Referee is going to allow it as it is Paris G who comes on for Albert Dikwa. Paris G has an appearance bonus he would not mind this change, despite the fact he's basically going to be on for 20 seconds.
Happy days for St. Louis and St. Louligans, top of the table, can't get better than that. Early on in the season, positive vibes all around. Happy days.
St. Louis FC back to winning ways, dropping points in their last 2 matches, but tonight putting 3 past Swope Park Rangers. They go top of the Eastern Conference as they win tonight by 3-1.
Yep, brilliant performance by St. Louis. But give credit also to that young side of Swope Park Rangers, and average age of 21, 22. By the way, Cicerone absolutely agreed. Man of the match, thought he was superb, brilliant today, first and second half, and he got his goal. But spare a thought for Swope Park Rangers, the visitors. Those youngsters really came back from 2-0 down to make a game of this and add to all the enjoyment, I'm sure, for everybody watching. But in the end, the St. Louis team too strong, Russell Cicerone too good, Carl Gregg gets a goal as well, and it's happy days for the St. Hooligans.
And Russell Cicerone is our man of the match, presented by Pleats Cleaners, selected by our broadcast crew. Follow St. Louis FC on Twitter to vote in the Pleats Man of the Match fan poll. Russell Cicerone with the goal and the assist on the day. You mentioned as well Kyle Gregg getting in the goals, but the scoring opened by Audi Jepson, and what a goal it was. We'll show it all coming up next in our full-time highlights. We are in Edward Jones full-time as our final score on the night. It is St. Louis FC 3, Swope Park Rangers 1.
Excitement that is sweeping the nation has arrived in St. Louis.
Put that in a goal! It's Cicerone!
Fans are loving the authentic soccer experience. Tailgating, cheering, chanting, and much more. It's a party you won't want to miss.
Goal! St. Louis FC! Hit a goal! Fan welcome Victor!
Get your tickets at stlouisfc.com.
Boy.
At Edward Jones at full-time, it is St. Louis FC 3, Swope Park Rangers 1. What a performance it is from the home side on the night to get back to winning ways after dropping points in their last two matches. Now 5 wins from 8. The fans here at Worldwide Technology Soccer Park thoroughly enjoying this one. As you get to our full-time highlights, Chris Winningham, Gary Bailey here for commentary of this one. And our man of the match, Russell Cicerone, was involved in plenty of the action, including forcing that great save out of Adrian Zendejas. But here would be the goal. Audi Jepson opens the scoring.
Oh, it's a fantastic strike, isn't it? Comes off what seems like the crossbar, just under the crossbar. Look at it, moves, dips, drops, impossible to save.
And Albert Dico with a lovely first-time ball into the path there of Cicerone, whose initial effort saved, but still manages to score on the follow.
He deserves it as well. He was absolutely superb this match. Does really well to keep on going through and pick up that loose ball. And they were 2-0 up there. This was a chance for Carl Gregg to have gone 3-0 up. Just stretches and can't quite reach the ball. And then this moment from Alexander hits it. Look at this. It just goes in virtually off the post in the far corner, and suddenly it was game on.
Yeah, perfectly struck towards that far corner. Here would be the third set pieces. Hilton to Fink to Kyle Gregg.
Yeah, once Sam Fink wins this, then they're in trouble, Swope Park Rangers, because it was a great header to Kyle Gregg. He gets on the end of it, tucks it away, and it was virtually game over at that point. But until then, a close game. And if you look at the stats for Swope Park Rangers, yes, they did well. 15 shots, more shots than St. Louis, but look at the shots on target, just 2. That's maybe the inexperience of the side and something that the coach will work on. And if this side grows in maturity, wow, they've got some talent.
And And St. Louis in that second half losing out on the possession and for the night as well. But that mostly came when they were 2-0 down. But it is a dominant performance for St. Louis for a majority of this one. They head over to that corner on the far side to celebrate with their supporters. The St. Louligans will enjoy this victory on the night. And that'll just about do it for us here on the broadcast for our terrific USL crew. My broadcast partner, Gary Bailey. My name is Chris Whittingham, signing off at Edward Jones full-time. St. Louis behind goals from Audi Jepson, Russell Cicerone, and Kyle Gregg. Win by 3-1.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.